Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast of the California MBA featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo and I'm very happy that you could join us for today's episode of Connect. Before we get to today's guest, I'd like to thank our Connect podcast sponsor, Incelerate.
Thanks, Susan, and thanks for listening. This is Josh Wren, CEO and founder of Incelerate. We're grateful for our partnership with the CMBA and are committed as a company to help lenders close more loans. We do this with our customer experience platform that has a CRM, lead management, marketing, automation, robust content library, desktop and mobile applications. We do this to help you engage and stay connected to your current borrowers, referral partners, past borrowers, and potential new ones. If you want to find out why we're the fastest growing CRM provider in the mortgage industry, please reach out to us and ask for a demo.
Okay, thank you, Josh. And with that, I'd like to welcome today's guest. I have Robert Moore, President of Inventiv Technologies. Welcome, Robert.
Thanks, Susan. It's great to see you as always. Appreciate the opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, great. I'm glad that we could make time. Such a busy, tough market, but everybody's so busy. I'm just grateful that I can get some time with you. So I always like to get started with talking a little bit about people's background. I think it's always an interesting journey to this crazy business of the mortgage industry. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the mortgage business.
Well, you mentioned the word crazy, so I think that kind of applies maybe to all of us in one way or another, right? But it applies to how I got into the industry. And then I thought I'd share how I actually got into IT, which is a funny story, but I am a history and political science major. So of course, naturally I went into IT, but
right. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, logical, right? But I was in New York City and I had just gotten out of grad school and I was wondering what I was going to do with myself. And I had a couple of friends that were computer programmers and they were talking about Prudential Insurance and I should go become a computer programmer. And I go, I quit liking you guys when you start talking computers, so no way. Well, as I was coming up on the next rent payment, I was like starting to reconsider, and I thought, well, if nothing else, I'll go do the interview for practice. So I went and did this interview over in Jersey for their computer programming at Prudential, and then came back that afternoon worn out, and basketball was my passion back then, so I played 3 or 4 times a week. So I called my buddy, said, all right, let's hit the court. So out we go, and I proceeded to tear virtually every ligament in my ankle that afternoon. So Prudential called me the next week and offered me a job, and I was laid up for like 6 weeks on crutches and just a mess. So I'm like, I want to pay my rent, I want to eat. Okay, I'll do this temporarily. So lo and behold, I ended up liking it, and I've been in tech ever since. And then a few years after that, I had a buddy introduce me to a mortgage company. Actually, I was in Oklahoma at the time, so it was Midland Mortgage, and they wanted to develop a in-house software for a reload program, and they hired me to head that up. So after that, I got in the mortgage business, and like many of us, I was sucked in and tried to get out, never could. I loved it, hated it, but I used to have a CFO buddy, and we used to joke how we should introduce ourselves like AA members. Hi, I'm Robert. I'm a mortgage banker. I'm trying to recover, but I can't. So, but honestly, I've loved it. The only constant we have in this industry is change, so it's always exciting, always new challenges. So that's kind of quickly how I got into both IT and mortgage banking.
Got into this business. Yeah, the change is always on the menu in the mortgage industry, and certainly as we're looking, 22 has been a very tough year for lenders, as you know. I'd be interested to hear what your clients are sharing with you, their top priorities for the balance of this year, and really kind of looking into 2023 at this point.
Well, beyond the obvious of replacing lost revenue and, trying to adapt to the movement that we're seeing between companies, of loan officers, branches, and teams. For us as a technology services provider, I'm seeing a couple of things. One is cybersecurity is still a priority for almost all of the companies. I don't think that's ever going away for us. And then, of course, with the changes at NYDFS and some state changes that are coming, as you're aware, in California, Colorado, others, we always have to keep that top of mind. We're seeing a lot of interest in a new service offering that we have, and I think it applies really well to mortgage companies, and that's our virtual infrastructure products. And so it's a virtual environment, servers and desktops, both. And so it allows mortgage companies to scale both up and down as the market dictates. So, for example, at my largest mortgage client, their closets are now overflowing with returned equipment from all of the remote workforce that they had. Part of it is, of course, the unfortunate layoffs, movement of people. So they are extremely invested in our virtual infrastructure. So we brought on a number of people for them this year. So we're able to spin up new employees, a new branch in a matter of hours, not days or weeks. And then you have the ability to use your own hardware. If they're bringing hardware from the previous company, if they have it at home, if they're going to continue to work remote, we're able to accommodate all those environments in a very secure way. So you can ramp up very quickly. And then, unfortunately, as you know, with the mortgage industry, it's always cyclical. So, if you'd had our virtual products last year, you'd be able to then downsize very quickly. So you only pay for what you're using. And again, very adaptable on a very quick basis.
With that ability to kind of scale up and down, I think is really critical for lenders. I mean, in every market, right? Because you've seen that over the years. It's the roller coaster that we're always on. So that is a very interesting product that your company has. You have the unique distinction of not only being a technology solution provider in the industry, but you've also been on the lending side, worked for lenders, and been a mortgage banker. How do you feel that gives you an advantage in this market?
Oh, I think it's always an advantage if you understand things from the business side. Sometimes some of my staff and some of my competitors don't always agree. I've had software vendors that don't necessarily agree, but I just think business always comes first, and technology that doesn't meet a very specific real corporate business objective is totally worthless. And in my career, I've done a lot of what I call turnarounds, where I go in and I have to rescue a IT department or more. And so a lot of times that's due to kind of narrow tunnel vision, getting lost in the technology and not remembering what the bigger picture is and why we're all here, which is to close more loans and make money. So having, the rare opportunity and privilege to be on the business side, I think just helps me maintain that perspective. And that's how, whether I'm doing it for us or I'm helping a client, that's how I measure whether it's worthwhile doing. So
Right.
and I think also with my background not being tech per se, I don't get in the weeds. So I keep that larger picture.
Yeah, no, I think that's really a great advantage that you have for your clients. Definitely understand. Certainly markets like this, like what happened overnight.
Yeah, and that's the other part. I'm empathetic as an individual anyway, but it enables our company to be empathetic because I can tell my people when you're helping a frustrated hello or an underwriter, step back and look at what's happening in 2022 and why they might be stressed out and why it's important that we get this loan closed today. So we're able to give that perspective, and then they're able to empathize and support our mortgage clients much better than they would without that perspective.
Right. Great. That's great perspective. So you've been an innovator in the mortgage space for many years now. What do you think the mortgage industry can learn from other industries about the adoption of technology?
to move quicker.
Don't take
No.
so long.
Simple lesson, no. No, I think, that is part of it. Any of us that, have been in the industry as long as we have, we probably have been frustrated that the technology has not moved quicker, or rather the adoption of the technology has not moved much quicker, like we, wish we had been to a full e-mortgage, a decade ago or more. You're right. And so I do think part of it's adoption. I think the other thing is, again, to get out of our own way, in a sense. So in the mortgage industry, we're very much used to doing things the way we always have. We have employees that are used to doing it the way they always have. And it's a very linear process. So I think we need to step back and we need to clear our mind of the way we've always have done it, and think about new ways. And from a technology perspective, look at different ways of doing things. I think the days of one vendor or one software system being able to adequately provide all of our needs is long gone. So it's more of finding the best of breed a lot of times. And then the key is integration. How do you make those pieces talk to each other? How do you make them work well together? So to spend more time stepping back, thinking strategically. Personally, I think downtimes and stuff are opportunities for you to reassess and reevaluate and think, what should I do? And it's also, I think, a good time to take on a new technology initiative while business is perhaps slower. I know people are frazzled and running around with their hair on fire, but as a company, hopefully we can take some time and actually, invest in some technology that we need, or that will position us to have a competitive advantage, because one thing we do know is it will change and we will come out of the down cycle. Give yourself a leg up, or a heads up on your competitors by leveraging technology.
Right. Yeah. Use this time to really be ready for the next positive cycle in this industry. That's great advice. I hope a lot of lenders are taking a look at that right now. So you and Inventiv have been big supporters of our Mortgage Innovators Conference. You're also sponsoring again in 2023. Thank you very much for that. Can you share with our listeners why this event is a priority for your company?
There's a number of reasons. And first of all, we're happy to sponsor. This is a great event. As you and I were talking before, if I put my client hat back on, or step back to when I was in the corporate world, honestly, if I had to choose between going to MBA Tech, no offense to the MBA Tech and all those wonderful people, I've been so many times, but if budgets are tight and I have to choose, I'm going to go to Mortgage Innovators. So I just see a lot of value that is provided by you all, by the vendors that are there. There is a collaborative environment. There's an energy there that is not always at other conferences. And the seminars that are put on, I think, are helpful, practical. So a variety of reasons why I think this conference is head and shoulders above many others, and why this is where, as a company, I choose to invest our sponsorship money.
Well, we are very grateful for that. Thank you. We work really hard, and it's companies like yours that help us make that event such a big success. So thank you for being a part of it once again in 2023.
Happy to be. And another aspect of it is I absolutely love the relationships and the partnerships that are always developed at the event. Those are invaluable.
Great. Yeah, great. Well, we're getting ready. We're gearing up for next year back at the Hilton Anaheim. So, Robert, thank you so much for being a part of the Connect podcast series. I really appreciate your time and the insights that you shared with our listeners today.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great, and thanks to all of you for joining us on this episode of Connect. To access any of our past episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.